Hello folks, welcome to the channel again, and please do subscribe. This is a non-sponsored channel, just runs with your help. And if you've followed the channel and seen reviews of cameras like the Q3 or the Hazzies, I just love something about fixed lens cameras and also the Hasselblad family, and that's the leaf shutter which is inside the lens. So as opposed to focal plane shutters which are in front of the sensor, and there are typically two curtains and then they move one after the other, and while they are capable of very high shutter speeds, they create something called the rolling shutter effect because the whole sensor is not exposed in one go. Now leaf shutter, that's a whole different story. They might not have very fast shutter speeds and top off at around 2000 or sometimes 4000, but what they do is expose the sensor in one go, and that really helps in flash photography. I love using strobes to overpower sunlight. Now when you got to overpower sunlight or when you're shooting against the sun, the power required really shoots up, especially if you want to shoot at a shallow depth of field. You're using the widest possible aperture of the lens, which means quite a bit of light is getting into the camera, and then even if you use the lowest ISO, still your shutter speed to underexpose the ambient has to be in the vicinity of at least above 1/500 or 1/1000. And this is where a focal plane shutter might cause problems, because in such a case your shutter speed really has to be high, and the moment you go above your camera sync speed, which is let's say 200, 250, in exceptional cases maybe 400 like in the Sony A1 II, you're actually telling the strobe to move into high speed sync. Now what does high speed sync do? Yes, absolutely, you can use high speed sync. But here's the problem with high-speed sync. The power of the strobe goes down because it's not one full-blown pop, but there are a series of pops, and due to that the power goes down, and it also eats up battery quite a bit. So that's where leaf shutters really help, and I just absolutely am in love with leaf shutter cameras. So I tried this with the Q series, the Q, Q2, Q3. I've tried it with the Hasselblad X1D Mark II, which I had, and I've tried it with the 907X and the 50C II. So this is something which I always try out because I'm very excited when I get a leaf shutter camera in my hand. So yesterday I got an opportunity. There was this event in Georgetown Square where a few gentlemen had dressed up in vintage retro attire, and we also had a photo walk. So I took this there. I took my RX1R Mark III with a leaf shutter in the Zeiss lens, and I put a trigger on top of it. For the Westcott, I have the FJ400s, and on the FJ400 I had a 36-inch Octa with a diffuser, and I shot, and thanks to a few friends who helped me hold the light, and I was shooting bang against the sun. I wanted the sun to create a little bit of a, they had these hats, and I wanted to create a little bit of a rim light. Well, in some of the cases it happened, some didn't, but basically I just wanted to shoot against the light, and that's where this whole scenario came. And I'll leave the all the numbers in the picture, so you can see that the shutter speed was always above a typical sync speed of 200, 250, as you'll see. And also this helps not blowing out the sky. So the whole point of underexposing the ambient is that the sky doesn't blow out, but still you get very good light on the people, very punchy and contrasty light, which is how I like it. So that's what I did, and added, a lot of people had doubts about whether this lens, the 35f2 Zeiss, is sharp enough, wide open, blah blah. So look at the pictures. I'm going to blow up a few pictures. You can see that even at f2 this has no problems. Yes, there's a little bit of color fringing, but wide open, pretty much any lens will have that kind of fringing when you're shooting things which are on a high contrast kind of environment and the edges have a very, very light or bright background. So that still is there, but you know, I don't see a major problem with this lens. And at f2 I really love the fall off. So my experiments with this camera continue and I'm loving it. Tell me how you felt about it, and do you use leaf shutter with strobes to get high shutter speeds, and if you do, how do you like it? Thank you, and please subscribe.